MTGjank, Decktech. Today we are looking at Jank, a red, black, and green aggressive deck full of large creatures. Our deck is centered around Domri Chaosbringer. But first, let's go over our ramp package. We have 1 Merfolk Branchwalker, 1 Incubation Druid, 1 Druid of the Cowl, 3 Llanowar Elves, and 2 District Guides. These cards will help us ramp into our larger creatures and get to Domri on time, hopefully by turn 3. Next, our whole deck is centered on Domri Chaosbringer. So Domri adds 1 red or green mana. If this mana is spent on a creature spell, it gains Riot. Riot says when a creature with Riot enters the battlefield with your choice of a 1/1 counter or haste. What are we using Domri for? We are running 6 mana cost creatures, but singleton, so 1 copy of each. We have 1 Itali Primal Storm, 1 Carnage Tyrant, 1 Tetsamok Primal Death, 1 Vivictus Asmadi the Dire, 1 Aggressive Mammoth, and 1 Urgaros the Empty One. So these are our late game bombs that we can end the game with. Next, let's go over our removal package. We're going to start with 2 copies of Collision Colossus. So Collision says deal 6 damage to target creature with flying. Our deck doesn't have a lot of flyers, so this removal comes in handy against a lot of matches. We also have Colossus, which can give our bigger creatures trample and get in for that last bit of damage. And we're running 1 Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. It can reincarnate one of our higher cost creatures and destroy a planeswalker or creature that we don't want on the battlefield. For mass removal, we're playing Gates Ablaze, which deals X damage to each creature, where X is the number of gates you control. Our deck is running 12 gates, so it's a good chance that we'll have at least 2 or 3 damage from Gates Ablaze. We are also running 1 copy of Find Finality. Finality lets us put 2 1/1 counters on a creature I control, and then all creatures get -4/-4. We can also use Find to get back 2 of our creatures. This can be very useful for our mana dorks if we lose them to removal. And finally, let's go over our card draw. So card draw is very important, especially in these colors. You wouldn't think we could have a lot of card draw, but we do. Our first, we're playing a lot of singletons once again. So we're playing a Path of Discovery, which lets our creatures explore when they enter the battlefield. We're also playing a copy of Theater of Horrors, which exiles a card every turn, and if we deal damage to the opponent, we can cast them. We're also playing 1 copy of Beast Whisperer. Whenever we cast a creature spell, we can draw a card. Finally, 1 copy of Guardian Project. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under our control, if it doesn't have the same name as another creature we control or a creature card in our graveyard, we can draw a card. So our deck is mostly singletons, so all of these cards work pretty well. Next, we have some Jank. We are running our Tendershoot Dryad. This lets us go wide, and we're only running 1 copy of that, but we're also running 2 copies of Yavimaya Shepherd. So Yavimaya Shepherd also clogs up the board and combos well with Tendershoot Dryad. We also have 1 copy of Rhythm of the Wild. This is to give our creatures haste, and it works well with Domri, because Domri also gives our creatures Riot as well. So we can potentially get double Riot if we have Rhythm of the Wild and a Domri in play. And to close things out, we're also running 1 Vraska Relic Seeker. Its -3 ability to destroy artifact, creature, or enchantment is great removal and can come in handy in the late game to close out the game. I don't expect we can do the -10 very often, but the -3 and to have a planeswalker on the battlefield really helps us stabilize. So all in all, this is our Jank deck this week. Looking forward to ramping with Domri and playing some big creatures and controlling the board. This deck is very aggressive. It doesn't always have the best removal, but it's fun to play big creatures and attack with them. I hope you enjoy our gameplay, and let's get to the games.